the Honda C100 murdered this battery. What makes it such an effective killer? It has no voltage regulator, unlike many small Hondas after 1966, so there's nothing to stop it from boiling the water out of a lead-acid battery. Death by dehydration.
What can I do? I'm only one man.
You can make sure the battery levels stay filled above the lower limit, replenish it with distilled water, not more acid, because the acid's still in there. We've got plenty of acid.
Good Lord, acid rain!
And regular water from your sink has a bunch of minerals in it, so unless you're a fan of corrosion, poor battery performance, and early death, take a look in the mirror, cause you might just be a Honda C100. This system assumes you'll be using the lights to put load on the battery, which keeps everything balanced. But is it worth it to run your lights all the time so they burn out early?
Probably not.
I wanted to get a rectifier and put an AGM battery in here, but that goal was not achieved. AGM batteries don't have fumes, they can't spill, they are still lead acid, but they are just easier to work with, cause guess what? You can't buy a liquid lead acid battery with the acid in it, through the mail at least. You have to buy an empty battery with lead plates, then activate it with a container of acid that is way more than you'll ever need, but it's fine. It only costs twice as much as an AGM battery would.
What?
So why did I get this? Cause I couldn't find an AGM battery that fit. The closest I could find was narrower but an inch too deep. If I could, I would probably get the AGM battery, cause in this case it would be cheaper and less work to get it going and just less stress trying not to spill acid. So I'd go with that, even though AGM batteries are less resilient to being overcharged. So this is actually a better battery for this situation, but the battery isn't so much needed to power the lights as it works as a voltage buffer to make it so you aren't blowing out bulbs. There's no electric starter, and the power from the motor can directly power the lights. Actually, you can't even use the headlight without the motor. When this bike is off, all you're getting is a neutral light and the brake light. And even with the battery, all the lights dim when you hit the brakes, so it really doesn't matter if you have a good battery, but you want to have something in there. I used the same battery for 10 years and never blew out a bulb. So I got this because it actually fits, even though the connector is a male waterproof and I want to have a female, so I guess my old battery was modified. And I'm gonna take the connector off the old battery, but you can buy new ones. UASs were the original Hondas and they stayed 6 volt till 1982. About 12 volt Cubs were called Passports before they disappeared from the US till 2019. Welcome to the wild adventures of activating a battery. This is the acid, and this is the battery. You'd think these caps would screw on.
You'd think so, but no.
And considering how dangerous this stuff is, you'd think this extension hose would screw on so it can't just pop out.
You'd think so, wouldn't ya?
I have no idea how harmful sulfuric acid is, so I'm not wearing gloves because gloves might give me too much confidence, and I might start thinking I know what I'm doing and splash acid in my eyes.
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
This has 3 chambers and they are not connected. You have to fill it up in the 3 holes. Checking the levels and removing the excess with an eyedropper. Now that you're done with this dangerous acid, you'd think there would be a threaded cap you could screw on it after you cut off the tip.
You would think so, but no.
The battery comes with a cover for the vent hole, and they say throw it away. Well, don't do that. Put it on your unsealable bottle of acid, why don't you? So this gets charged 80% just by activating it. Since I don't need it to start the bike, I'm not putting it on a charger. How often should you check your battery levels? The manual says once a week in the summer. Yeah, right. And once a fortnight in the winter. Even by the 1950s, a fortnight was an awfully wordy and archaic way of saying 2 weeks. So I'm not sure why they busted out the thesaurus for that one. I'd say check it every couple 100 miles, unless you tip your battery over, because in that case, acid has definitely leaked out.
Ah! It burns like a Glasgow bikini wax. Ah!